If I'm just a provider, then tell me what I'm worth. If love is so free, why you measure what it's worth? If I got no money, do I lose my voice? Am I a man, or just a joy? They say they don't need us, no loss, no drama. But when chaos comes, who falls into trauma? I'm not a balance, not a number in the sum. Before all of this, who have I become? They preach about privilege under bright stage lights, but ignore the weight that I carried my whole life. If I break, I'm weak. If I stand, I'm cold. If I question the game, then I'm out of the mold.
I had an interesting thought that was, I want to say, spurred into mind by one of my favorite content creators, Transcendent Tarot. I don't listen to but maybe 5 creators on YouTube. I don't spend a whole lot of time searching up new people and perspectives. I've found the few that I highly definitely resonate with, that just seem to be on the same channel as I am. It's not an attempt, it's not soaking up what it is they're saying. It's they're in the same zone of energy and thought process at the same time, and it's noticeable. So from that point, it did bring to mind when she had mentioned something about names and how names are ultimately a little bit a place of ego, to place importance on a name, in a sense, can be something that can be self-importance and grounding in the physical realm, and not being highly representative of your higher self. It's more reptilian zone, lower self, base emotion realm. And it did make me think about names, about how in human existence we have a lot of opportunities to make our own decisions, and when we're born, we don't. We're very dependent. But one of the first things that happens to us as we're born, before we're born, or sometime near that time frame of our physical existence becoming flesh that is embodied, that time frame, we're given a name, and we have no say in it. We have no say, it's just given to us. We are given a name, and from that point on, people call us out by that name. And for me, I think I've mentioned before how I see speech. I have always viewed the act of sending vibration out into the ether. I mean, in the Bible, first there was the nothing, and then God spoke. And with the word, he spoke everything into existence. It's like he sent out vibration from consciousness, which consciousness was obviously first. But through vibration, there was a coalescing through speech of matter, right? And if casting vibrations by forming together syllables and letters into words, you are casting spelling. You're spelling. You're sending spells that affect matter with your vibrations that you're using, that we recognize in our minds. We're taught what all these vibrational tones mean, but we are receptive to vibration separate of meaning. Okay? I don't want to get too deep into how vibration and speech are mechanisms of creationism and manifestation, but if you're into craft, if you've studied into sorcery and manifestation and witchcraft, these kind of things, then you already know. You already know that vibration is key. Tonality is key. It's all about harmonics and vibrations and, mental vibration, spiritual vibration, spoken vibration. these things affect and cause. These are the causations of reality. This is how you manipulate and affect what is and what will be, is through your vibrational effects. Color is a vibration, light is a vibration, sound is a vibration. All these things are vibration, which speech is a progenitor of causation of reality. That being said, that long explanation, I recently put up a post about a tree and how my name means tree that yieldeth goodly branches. But, you know, I didn't say my name, and I don't feel that my name personally is of some power or some pride, you know, because my name is Elton, okay? And I think my parents, being musicians in a time that Elton John was popular, they hoped that I'd become a piano man, be a piano player. I became a plumber, right? A tradesman, and I worked with my hands and sought adventure and expansion of the mind, and probably, you know, Elton John did too. But, you know, being raised in small towns, being of a darker complexion, bearing the name was not great, I don't think, because it was something akin to a boy named Sue for me. You know, being named after a white gay man wasn't exactly like, thanks guys, you know, appreciate you, I'm so glad you named me Elton. But at the same time, where people used to look at me when I'd say, hi, my name's Elton, they'd be like, oh, like Elton John, it was automatic. But there did come a time when that stopped. Like, I'd tell people my name and they didn't make the association because it wasn't in my mind anymore. I am me, I am not him. You can associate with him and I the same name, but I am so much me that I think me not feeling that connection, because expectation leads to reality, I don't expect people to anymore, so they don't. It doesn't come to my mind, so it doesn't come to their mind. But if it does, then it does. But it doesn't, so it doesn't, right? So when I get into what is in a name, you know, we're named and we don't pick our name, but that name has an effect. I mean, anybody who's been alive for a good amount of time has known many people by many names. But you can't help but notice, you know, over time that certain names carry certain characteristics. And is that not from the vibrationary tone, or is it because of social expectations or recollections of other people by that name, that society treats people by that name a certain way? Like if your name is, say, let's just say something wild, like, you know, you're obviously living in a Christian place and you're named Judas, right? Then people are going to always look at you like you're Judas, or you're Judith, or you're Lilith, or something like that. People are going to be like, whoa, like crazy, you know. By the opposite, if you're named, you know, Michael or Gabriel or something like that, people are always like, oh, wow, you know, an angel's name, Raphael, you know. So people are going to treat you differently because of your name, right? So there are certain vibrations that people are going to send your way emotionally because of your name. But it is as you become more cognizant and aware and embodied, and you do your integration and you start to be empowered to give and receive intentionally energy, to take and receive energy, or hold space, close off, block, pass. You can do all kinds of different things with energy. You don't just have to be in the sea floating adrift, affected by. You can learn to take control and be affected intentionally, and you can transmute. There's a lot of being intentional with energy that people can learn to do, okay? But when you have a name given to you and you're young, there is a long amount of time when you don't know any of these concepts. Who's going to learn at 5, 6 years old manifestation and blocking and sovereignty, and certain words have certain meanings that are just out of the grasp of a 6-year-old's capacity, right? So there's going to be an amount of time when you're growing up that your name that you are given is going to cast a certain amount of vibrational influence on who you are. And it's out of your control. It's as if fate, in a sense, wants to teach you some vibrational lessons by casting a certain vibrational tone that everybody's going to send to you through the spoken essence of your name and the collective understanding of what that name means to them. They're going to send that energy to you. And until you get to a point where you can intentionally block, hold, pass, transmit something different back after you transmute that energy, if you understand that you can cast an energy that causes people to embrace a new perspective and see things differently or feel differently about things, then your name no longer is affecting you as an outside influence. You are embodied outside of what your name is. And I think, people in a lot of places, they give themselves nicknames because they couldn't handle the energy that their name holds. If your name's something wild, something crazy that you're not wanting to deal with, well, I want to say not going through what your name is and coming out the other side is a mistake. You're named what you are because there is an energetic lesson in bearing and carrying that name and owning it until you grow beyond it. And it is no longer who you are. It's just what you're called. It's just what people have called you since you were born. And it's how you are recognized as an individual, but people start to understand who you are beyond what you're named. So there can be a point where people say, oh, Elton, yeah, like Elton John. Or they hear your name and they're immediately like, oh, that guy, I remember this about him, or I remember he said this, or, oh man, every time that I see him, he always has his things to say. And they go on to who you are rather than your name. So I want to say that's an essence of growth and personality is, are you your name, or are you a person that people think of who you are when they hear your name? Do you embody what you are called? Or does what you're called make people recognize who you are? Are they all of a sudden drawn into memories and concepts and thought processes and experience, maybe even growth that they have earned through encounters? I know for me, being a Sigma INTJ type, I'm constantly trying to learn and grow, and there's always a next summit. And I'm never truly feeling like I've gotten to a happy place because there's always somewhere else to go. And anybody who knows me and has worked with me or been friends with me, you're going to get sucked up in that. I just do that. And I think a lot of people take it as I'm being judgmental because I'm trying to get them to grow. I'm like suggesting constantly, health-wise, do this, or why don't you exercise like this, or maybe you should go to do this, or look at this way, or, oh, I noticed that you're struggling with this. And like, how do you see that? How do you see that I'm going through that? I'm like, well, because I've gone through it, or I've seen it, or I know somebody that was. So, I mean, this is what I would suggest, and I don't want to push people to feel bad about situations or how they're doing or their health decisions or their substance abuse or their addiction, these kind of things, or just habits or struggles or how people get stuck. I get stuck, in situations that I'm trying to move towards, and then I become my own worst enemy and things. But then I work through it till I figure out what it is that's blocking me in my own habitation or my own limitations. Or sometimes you're afraid of success. You're more happy with what you know, so you're afraid to grow. But I will realize and grow out of these things, and then I'll see it in somebody and I'll bring it up to them. And some people appreciate that. Some people look at it as you're pushing them, and they don't like it. And I want to say a lot of people eventually get tired of it, because they do want to just be happy. They do want to just take a rest. They do want to feel accomplished, like they've achieved their goal and they can just chill. And I don't like that perspective. I think you should keep pushing, keep growing, keep learning. There's always more. You should never truly feel satisfied, because in the moment to have satisfaction is fine. But to let yourself believe that you've achieved your ultimate goal, there's never enough time. Not in the day, not in a lifetime. You can always do more. There's always something else that needs to be done. And holding that perspective is disconcerting to a lot of people. A lot of people don't want to feel that way. They want to just feel like everything's okay and I can chill and sit down and watch TV. Sit on my phone and stare at TikTok. Watch YouTube all day. Go hang out with my friends. Smoke weed and get drunk. Go to the club. Have some drinks and chill and laugh. And, I don't even like to chit chat. People want to talk about themselves. They want to talk about sports games. I'm just like, oh. We don't want to talk about something deep, something that drives self-growth and understanding. And I want to talk about magic. I want to talk about self-development. I want to talk about projects, how to achieve them. I want to strategize. That's the type of thing that I focus on and dedicate my time and energy into. I don't watch sports. I don't watch TV. I don't watch the news. I'll check in, see what's going on, but too much outside perspective and too much outside energy influences your outcome. It's okay to take in some like-minded content, but I think TikTok's the devil. People literally just sitting there scrolling and taking in a whole bunch. I don't do Facebook either, because I look at it as it's just how much space do you have in your mind ultimately, and you're going to fill it with what? It's like people who are into sports. Fine, cool, you're into sports, but how do you remember this person's name and all their stats and their games that they played and plays that they played and where they're going to be and this year and that year? How do you store all that information, and why? What is it actually good for? If it's not functional, if I can't use it in the workplace, in my family life, in my hobbies, if it's not going to benefit me, I'm not even going to store it. Why? It's not going to benefit me. But people are interested in it and they love it because it's social. Other people do it so they have camaraderie, so they can all chit chat about that. And it gives them a status. It gives them a place of meaning and being and purpose to know these things. Somebody else is highly impressed. They're like, oh yeah, that guy, yeah, that played, oh my God, I can't believe it. Oh shit, yeah, that, and they're like, high five, and I'm just like, what the fuck? How? Why? What? Somebody else doing something out there? You're excited about something else that someone else did that they dedicated countless hours of exercise and execution to achieve, and you remembering that is an achievement? So I'm like, achieve your own excellence and achieve your own goals and go out there and grow and excel and exceed. You do it. Find what you love and dive into it. Spend your time doing it. Grow outside of your name. You know, these people have their names on their jerseys and people wear their jerseys and they say their names. But do you think that person that's achieved all that and played and sacrificed and done all this hard work to get there, that that's their name on the jersey? Do you think they look at their name the same that you do? They're like, yeah, I don't have time to think about that. I'm too busy doing what I need to do what I need to do to be who I am. I don't watch TV. I don't do this. I don't do that. I don't have time. Who has time to do that? Who has time to watch all these sports and sit around and talk about it? I'm too busy doing it. That's what I mean. We're getting into a society of watchers instead of doers. And it worries me. In a place where we're at war with other nations, I worry about that watching my kids and stuff. I'm like, if we would have gotten into World War III while my generation, before cell phones, was still young, I feel that we would have done pretty well. But the longer we go with getting into the sit around in your house and watch TV generation and play video games and don't break a fingernail, guys with hair buns, you know what I mean? Like, no hate. You got a hair bun. I'm not hating on you. I'm just saying, back in my time, that would have been something acceptable to laugh at. Now, it's not funny. It's socially unacceptable, right? So, it just a lot has changed. I'm getting older, so I'm one of those, like, all those kids. But there's something to it, though. I want to say go outside, exercise, get some hiking in, enjoy the outdoors, physically exert yourself. Walking is fantastic. Hiking, running, biking, playing sports is fantastic. I'm all about it. But sitting around and watching it, I mean, I get it. A lot of people are into it. And if you play it and you watch it, you're doing at least half of it for you. And I get that. That's fantastic. But there's usually more you could do for you in the end of the day that will benefit you long term. So I know I went off on a crazy tangent from vibration, magic, manifestation, and what is in a name. But it all ties together in that a name isn't who you are. A name is less who you are than your physical body is. If you are just the pilot of the space suit, your physical body, you are the traveler within, who travels out at night when you go to dream. Your astral body, your true sense of self, is out experiencing a whole different dimensional experience. And then comes back into the body as an embodied spirit, an embodied soul during the day. And during those hours of being embodied, that's when your name matters. That's really the only time that your name matters. But when you're living from your spirit in your body, you're going to find less importance to your name, to other people's achievements, to how people see you, view you, reaching out to others to feel important, find importance, to be accepted. These things become wholly and solely unimportant, because filling your soul with happiness and love is an internal thing. trying to grasp that and gain it from the outside by feeling accepted is a hollow husk, because no one can make you happy but you. You feel happy from you when other people's acceptance is gained. But they're not giving you that happiness. And when you stop wearing the mask that we all wear, and you start expressing your shadow, and you start integrating your shadow and doing shadow work, and you take that mask off and you start being you, authentic you, unfiltered you, and you do not react to people's, politeness or sideways remarks or expectations. Like some people will try to get you to go along and woo and do things and behave a certain way to cue you, and you don't react. You're like, okay, sorry, I'm not a reactor to other people's expectations. Like, you want me to do something, and you think that if I do, then you can pat me on the back and be like, oh yeah, cool. Oh, ain't that time. I'm not that dude. And people don't like it. They want you to go along. They want you to make them feel like they're important, and they make you feel like you're important, and we play that game. And that's the wearing the mask game. But when you take that mask off and you empower yourself to be happy, to be proud, and you don't look to other people to give that to you, you just are embodied and you are of self-worth on your own. I don't do anything for anyone unless I feel like it. And I do. I very often do, because I, in my heart, want to. Not because I want anything, not because I want anybody to look at me a certain way, because it's the right thing to do as a human. Because I care for people, I love people, and I want them to be happy themselves. Not because I want them to be like, oh, that's so nice of you. Fuck that. Get out of my face with that. I'm not doing it because I'm nice. I'm not doing it because I want you to pat me on the back or commend me or tell me an attaboy. I could care less. I don't really care. All I want is to feel in my own self that I'm doing the right thing, because I've said several times, the only person that I'm trying to impress is spirit. Because I know that's how you become blessed and you become empowered. Spirit is all the power. Call it God, call it the Great Spirit, whatever you want. We don't do magic. We don't do sorcery. These things are expressions of spirit. Spirit empowers you and enables you through it to use it. But you have to show yourself to be worthy. And that worthiness is being admired in your embodiment of goodness and purpose and intention. Carlos Castaneda talked very, very extensively about intent and pureness of intent and will. And having clean and pure intent is how you become admired by spirit, and then spirit will empower you. So I know magic and sorcery and these things are a big focus of mine. And being a manifester through vibration, through word, through mentalism, through focus, these things are not things that we do from our will. It doesn't happen because we impose ourselves, because we impose our wills, desires, and strengths, and we're going to make these things happen. No. They happen because you are pure and you're acting on the pureness of goodness and of spirit. Not out of selfishness, not out of your own desire, because it's right and you know it from here. And when you know it from here and that's where you act from, then everything that comes from here is right. Here, all aligned, causes a good wholeness of energy. And embodiment allows spirit to allow you to work with it. And then you can start to be a manifester and use magic.
what we call magic. We call magic what we call it because it's insufficiently understood in the mechanisms that cause it, because there are no words for what happens in the spiritual realm, because spirit doesn't speak, it feels. And you can't speak feelings, you can only feel them. Feel me?